to this Congress and took part as the host country sponsor of the event. We think we will create splendid opportunities to open up new horizons within such a challenging business environment. I believe we need more platforms to share experiences, discuss solutions, and take lessons. For that purpose, I am very excited to listen also to other experiences in this Congress. We are talking about the problems every time, you know. We know the problems because we are living with them. And if we really want to solve these problems, we have to take actions to start changing something. We know very well the problems we are facing, which cannot be solved by themselves. We have to touch the problems, and we have to touch each other. You know, we build physical bridges to reach the other side. Now, we have to establish very strong bridges among us, among companies, among countries, among cultures, among civilizations to solve the problem and to reach the real safe, secure energy future. And after that, we should go on, we should walk on that bridge hand in hand to reach safe, secure, sustainable energy future. At this point, Anatolia is the real good gate through our energy future. And Turkey is the real key to open the door, to open this gate through our next generations. Because of that, Turkey's position is very important. And we say, as Turkey, we are here waiting for you as a faithful and strong partner to go on together to solve any kind of problems. Welcome again, Istanbul. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Shishman. Our next speaker will be His Excellency Dr. Al-Sada. Please take the floor.
Excellencies, distinguished participant, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and a very good morning to you all. It is indeed a pleasure to be here in this wonderful city of Istanbul to address your August gathering at this prestigious forum of the World Petroleum Congress and share my views on the topic of building bridges to our energy future. Today, the world faces a challenge of striking a balance between the demand and supply of energy, both in the near and distant future. In words of the famous French author Victor Hugo, I quote, "To put everything in balance is good. To put everything in harmony is better." This is true for building bridges to energy future, as we not only need to create a balance between the supply and demand, but develop harmony between different forms of energy, their production and consumption alike. Ladies and gentlemen, energy business, as we all know, is at the heart of the global economy. It will continue to play a vital role in contributing to the world's economic prosperity. Today, with the dawn of shale oil and gas as an integral component of energy basket, increasing focus on renewable and climate change, we can clearly see a new map of energy being drawn. In this evolving scenario, it is important to analyze the current situation and consider the most potent bridge to meet the world's future energy needs. As we speak today, the oil market completes 3 years of downturn, which to a great extent was triggered by the emergence of shale oil infusion to the market. Shale oil in itself is not a concern. It was the accelerated rate at which it entered the market which disturbed the market balance and led to an excessive stock overhang. Shale oil today is what North Sea and Alaska were back in the 80s. In a way, history repeated itself. The bearish impact of which led to lower oil prices. The average oil benchmark price in the last 2.5 years have been about half of that where it was when the decline commenced. The world economic slowdown in the aftermath of a steep oil price decline has increased national debts, encouraged deflationary tendencies, and led to the adoption of austerity measures and protectionism in some regions, which have not helped the world economy. The low oil price has been a negative sum game for both producers and consumers alike. It is certain that it has eroded the market value of energy producing companies and hindered critical investments much needed for energy security few years down the line. Revenue and profitability of producers were adversely affected to the extent that sometimes it was not sufficient to invest to make up even for the natural decline of the oil fields. Investment in exploration, production, and field development have declined by about 25% per year in the last 2 years, and estimated to be trimmed by approximately $1 trillion for the period between 2015 and 2021, causing deferments or even cancellations of many energy projects. This unprecedented drop of investment in the existing and new fields can manifest itself in the form of shortages and unwarranted price hikes in 2 to 3 years' time. Ladies and gentlemen, OPEC, as well as many non-OPEC states, realize the importance of acting responsibly for stabilizing the oil market for forging ahead to harmonious energy future. OPEC took the initiative to rebalance the market. A joint and concerted efforts by both OPEC and non-OPEC producers were needed. Qatar, as the president of OPEC then, and under the wise guidance and directive of His Highness Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, the Emir of the State of Qatar, undertook the task of building bridges, initially between the OPEC members, followed by bringing together both OPEC and non-OPEC members to a common platform with a unified objective. Persistent and persuasive diplomatic initiatives were adopted, which led to Vienna Agreement by the end of last year. The engagement and the agreement was meant to expedite the rebalancing of the market by cutting production by about 1.8 million barrels of oil per day. This agreement, among a diverse group of countries, proved that multilateral, beneficial global agreement are still possible through positive diplomatic initiatives. And such an approach, ladies and gentlemen, could help in resolving many other international issues. It is universally agreed that overall demand for fossil fuels, namely oil, gas, and coal, is increasing. It will still constitute 3/4 of energy supplies even by the year 2040. Demand for natural gas, ladies and gentlemen, in particular, will see the most significant growth of all fossil fuels and about 2% yearly increase between now and 2030. It is considered to be the fuel of choice and will form the second biggest energy source after oil. LNG market is in a state of a transition. Its demand within the gas segment will grow even faster, expected to rise approximately 4.5% annually, about twice the rate of natural gas. Market share of LNG in international gas trade is expected to grow from about 33% now to over 50% by 2035, equaling that of piped gas volume. Ladies and gentlemen, building bridges to energy future is a challenging proposition. It is of paramount importance to avail sufficient and diversified sources of energy to ensure long-term global economic growth. The tremendous advancement in technology led and will continue to lead to more efficient, cost-effective extraction of natural resources. In addition, it is of a great importance that energy development is achieved in a sustainable and eco-friendly manner. Environment sustainability will benefit from the growth in natural gas usage. It is a very practical fuel of choice available today, a potent source of energy that acts as a bridge, allowing a smooth transition to a lower carbon future. Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, Qatar has an open economy with incentives to encourage investments. State of Qatar, under the visionary leadership of His Highness the Emir Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, has announced last week that its gas production from the North Field will be increased by 4 billion standard cubic feet per day. This would increase Qatari LNG production capacity from its current 77 million tons to more than 100 million tons per year. This capacity would be operational in 5 to 7 years, an opportune time to start up the project when the gas market would have been rebalanced. Recognizing the importance of natural gas for the world energy market, State of Qatar invested hugely in the entire gas value chain and today is the world's largest global supplier of LNG. It is a low-cost producer enjoying first-mover advantage with a well-developed and reliable infrastructure. It also owns and operates the largest LNG fleet, ensuring time-tested reliability of supplies to its customers. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Qatar has been exporting oil for nearly 7 decades and LNG for more than 20 years to all over the world, with a firm commitment to spare no efforts to honor and meet its contractual supply obligations in a timely manner. Having said that, I must say, despite the illegal siege currently imposed on my country, Qatar has never failed a single shipment and has not compromised on its long-standing image of being a reliable supplier of energy to all corners of the world. The total trade export to Japan, India, South Korea, and China account for nearly 3/4 of our total export, and trade with these nations remain unchanged. Total export to the UAE, Saudi Arabia, and Bahrain account for less than 8%, so any short-term effects of the blockade will not have a wide impact. Though this unjust blockade on Qatar is demonstrating its economic strength, diversity, and resilience. Ladies and gentlemen, before I conclude, I would like to take this opportunity to thank His Excellency the President of Turkey, Mr. Recep Tayyip Erdogan, under whose auspices this event is taking place. In addition, I would also like to thank the World Petroleum Congress, along with Turkish National Committee of WPC, for organizing this wonderful 22nd World Petroleum Congress. I thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you very much, Excellency Dr. Sada. And now we go to the next speaker, Mr. Rovnak Abdullayev from SOCAR, President of SOCAR. There will be a translation.
Hörmətli xanımlar və cənablar, hamınızı salamlayıram. Qlobal enerji şirkətləri rəhbərlərinin, enerji nazirlərinin və nüfuzlu ekspertlərinin iştirak etdikləri bu möhtərəm konqresdə sizinlə bir arada olmaqdan məmnunam. Bugün enerji təhlükəsizliyi ölkələrin iqtisadi inkişafında müstəsna rol oynayır. Biz enerji təhlükəsizliyindən bəhs edərkən eyni zamanda milli təhlükəsizlikdən bəhs etmiş oluruq. Dünyada neft hasilatının ən qədim məskənlərindən olan Azərbaycan tarixin erkən dövrlərindən beynəlxalq enerji bazarları ilə bağlı olmuş, bu sektorun inkişafına dəyərli töhfələr verilmişdir. Bizim ölkəmizdə neftin sənaye üsulu ilə hasilatı 19-cu əsrin ortalarına təsadüf edir. 1846-cı ildə Bakı yaxınlığındakı Bibeybət ərazisində ilk dəfə olaraq texnikanın tətbiqi ilə neft quyuları qazılmış və bununla da dünya neft sənayesinin təməli qoyulmuşdur. 19-cu əsrin sonlarında xarici sərmayə axının başlanması ilə neft hasilatı artaraq 20-ci əsrin əvvəllərində 11,5 milyon tona çatdırılmışdır. Bu da
I'd like to ask everybody, have you got the translator? Because I haven't seen many faces to put on the
no problem. Maybe Turkish language. Ben Türkçe'de danışırım. Problem. Və bu da dünya üzrə çıxışların neftinin %50'si deməkdir. İkinci Dünya müharibəsində faşizm üzərində qələbələrin qazanılmasında Azərbaycan neftçiləri müstəsna rol oynamış, cəhbədə istifadə olunan yanacağın böyük hissəsi təmin etmişlər. 1949-cu ildə dünyada ilk dəfə olaraq açıq dənizdə neft hasilatı Xəzərdə, Bakının 100 kilometr məsafədə yerləşən neft daşları yatağında həyata keçirilmişdir. Bununla da dənizdə neft hasilatının əsası qoyulmuşdur. Ancaq təəssüflə qeyd etməliyəm ki, dövlət müstəqillimizin bərpa olunduğu ilk illərdə Azərbaycan neft sənayesində hasilat kəskin şəkildə azalmışdı. Bir tərəfdən Ermənistanın beynəlxalq hüququnun əsas imperativ normalarını pozaraq Azərbaycana qarşı başladığı hərbi təcavüz, digər tərəfdən keçmiş Sovet İttifaqının miras qalmış iqtisadi sistemin süquta uğranması ölkəmizi ciddi böhranla üzləşdirmişdir. Bazar iqtisadiyyatı mexanizmdən hələ də qərarlaşmadığı Gənc Azərbaycan Respublikası beynəlxalq bazarlara çıxışını infrastruktur layihələrini həyata keçirilməklə təmin edə bilərdi. Məhz belə bir mürəkkəb şəraitdə milli liderimiz Heydər Əliyevin müstəsna səyləri nəticəsində xarici investorlar ölkəmizə cəlb edildi, müxtəlif tərəflərin maraqlarının arasında ortaq məxrəcə nail olundu. 1994-cü il sentyabrın 20-sində dünyanın 11 nüfuzlu enerji şirkətləri iştirakı ilə Azəri çıraq günəşli yataqlarının işlənməsinə dair əsrin kontraktı imzalandı. Bu layihə Azərbaycan neft sənayesinin inkişafına dönüş yaradaraq digər iri miqyaslı enerji layihələrinin həyata keçirilməsinə zəmin hazırlandı. Yatağın işlənməsi ilə yanaşı hasil olunan neftin boru kəmərləri vasitəsilə nəqli də Azərbaycan üçün böyük əhəmiyyət daşıyırdı. 1997-ci ildə Qaradənizə çıxışı təmin edən Bakı-Novorosiysk, Şimal, 1999-cu il isə Bakı-Subsa qərb ixrac boru kəmərləri istismara verildi. Azərbaycan öz neftini Ağdənizə çıxarmaq üçün 2006-cı ildə Bakı-Tiflis-Ceyhan neft boru kəmərini inşa etdi və bununla da ölkəmizin iqtisadi müstəqilliyi gücləndi, Avropa və dünya ölkələri ilə əlaqələrimiz yeni müstəviyə keçdi. 1996-cı ildə beynəlxalq enerji şirkətlərinin iştirakı ilə Şahdəniz yatağının işlənməsinə dair müqavilə imzalandı. Bu, Azərbaycan enerji sənayesinin inkişafında daha bir mühüm mərhələnin başlandığı idi. Şahdəniz dünya dəniz akvatoriyalarında ən böyük təbii qaz yatağı olub və 1,2 trilyon metr kub təsdiqlənmiş ehtiyata malikdir. Şahdəniz layihəsinin inkişafı 2 mərhələdə həyata keçirilməkdədir. Birinci faza çərçivəsində Azərbaycan 2006-cı ildə yataqdan qazın hasilatına nail olmuş və Bakı-Tiflis-Ərzurum boru kəməri vasitəsilə Gürcüstan və Türkiyə bazarlarına nəql etməkdədir. Bu faza çərçivəsində illik 10 milyard metr kub təbii qaz və gündəlik 50 min barel kondensat hasil edilir. Şahdəniz layihəsinə qədər Azərbaycan dünyada sadəcə neft ixracatçısı kimi tanınırsa, bu layihədən sonra həm də etibarlı qaz ixracatçısı sırasına daxil olmuşdur. Məmnuniyyətlə bildirmək istəyirəm ki, biz artıq 10 ildir strateji tərəfdaşlarımız olan Gürcüstan və Türkiyəyə bu layihədən qaz ixrac edir, bu ölkələrin enerji təminatına dəyərli töhfə veririk. Şahdəniz yatağının işlənməsinin ikinci mərhələsi isə Cənub qaz dəhlizi layihəsi çərçivəsində inkişaf etməkdədir. 40 milyard dollarlıq sərmayə dəyəri ilə qlobal miqyaslı nəhəng bir layihə olan Cənub qaz dəhlizi Türkiyə və Avropanın enerji təminatı baxımından strateji əhəmiyyət daşıyır, uzunluğu 3500 kilometr olan və 4 segmentdən ibarət dəhlizin ilk segmenti Şahdəniz 2 layihəsi, sonraki segmentləri isə müvafiq olaraq Cənub Qafqaz boru kəmərinin genişlənməsi, TANAP və TAP boru kəmərlərinin inşası layihələri təşkil etməkdədir. Hazırda bütün segmentlər üzrə işlər qrafikə uyğun şəkildə uğurla həyata keçirilir. Şahdəniz 2 layihəsi üzrə nəzərdə tutulan işlərin 94%, Cənub Qafqaz boru kəmərinin genişləndirilməsi üzrə 87%, TANAP üzrə bütövlüklə 77%, Türkiyəyə qaz təsis edəcək əski şəhərə qədər hissənin tikintisi isə 85%, TAP üzrə 45% başa çatmışdır. Cənub qaz dəhlizi vasitəsilə biz ilkin mərhələdə Türkiyəyə 2018-ci ildə, Avropa bazarlarına isə 20-ci ildə başlayaraq 16 milyard metr qaz ixrac edə biləcəyik. Gələcəkdə isə ixrac həcmlərini Abşeron, Ümid Babək kimi yeni layihələr hesabına artıra bilərik. Bugün Azərbaycan artıq qlobal layihələrin təsəbbüskarı və öncül qüvvəsidir. Əgər vaxtı ilə Cənub qaz dəhlizi layihəsinin sərmayə qoyuluşu məsələsi həll edilməsəydi, bugün biz bu layihənin inkişafından danışa bilməzdik. Bildiyiniz kimi, Şahdəniz qazının Avropaya nəqli üçün hələ 2000-ci illərin əvvəllərindən müxtəlif layihələr müzakirə olunurdursa, bunların heç biri nəticə verməmişdir. Yalnız Azərbaycan və Türkiyə prezidentləri, möhtərəm İlham Əliyev və möhtərəm Rəcəb Tayyip Ərdoğanın birgə təşəbbüsləri ilə 2012-ci ilin iyun ayında TANAP-la bağlı hökumətlə arası müqavilə imzalandıqdan sonra layihə beynəlxalq miqyasda tanınmağa başladı. Cənub qaz dəhlizi Azərbaycanın, Türkiyənin və həm də Avropanın uzun müddətli maraqlarına tam uyğun bir layihədir. Xəzər hövzəsindən Qərbi Avropaya qədər bir çox ölkələri əhatə edən bu əməkdaşlıq layihəsi iqtisadi maraqlar üzərində qurulmuş, kommersiya baxımından bütün tərəflər üçün əlverişlidir. Qarşıdakı illərdə Azərbaycan qazı digər tədarükçülərə yanaşı Avropanın təbii qaza artan tələbatını qarşılamaqda mühüm rol oynayacaqdır. Avropa İttifaqı ölkələrində təbii qaz istehlakı artmaqda, hasilat isə azalmaqdadır. Belə ki, 2016-cı ildə Avropa İttifaqında təbii qazın istehlakı 7,1% artmış, hasilat isə 1,6% azalmışdır. Bu da göstərir ki, gələcəkdə Avropanın yeni və alternativ mənbələrə ehtiyacı olacaqdır. Digər tərəfdən Avropa İttifaqının 2030-cu il enerji strategiyasına əsasən ətraf mühitin qorunması məqsədi ilə karbon dioksid emissiyasının 1990-cı il ilə müqayisədə 40% azaldılması hədəflənir. Proqnozlara görə Avropa İttifaqının təbii qaz idxalından asılılığı 2030-cu ildə indiki 67%-dan 84%-ə qalxacaqdır. Biz Cənub qaz dəhlizinin işə salmaqla Avropanın təmiz enerji ilə təmin olunmasında iştirak etməklə həm də enerji təhlükəsizliyinə, həm də ətraf mühitin qorunmasına öz töhfəmizi verə biləcəyik. Nitqimin sonunda strateji tərəfdaşlığımız olan qardaş Türkiyəyə dərin təşəkkürümü bildirmək istəyirəm. Azərbaycanın enerji resurslarının dünya bazarlarına çıxarılmasında Türkiyənin dəstəyi bizim üçün çox mühüm və önəmlidir. Məhz Türkiyə hökumətinin siyasi qətiyyəti bizim hədəflərimizin gerçəkləşməsi üçün əvəzolunmaz rol oynamışdır və bu gün də oynamaqdadır. Türkiyə dövləti Azərbaycanın enerji layihələri ilə əlaqədar beynəlxalq sazişləri hər zaman dəstəkləmiş, onun bütün müddəalarına sadiqlik göstərməklə xarici investisiyaların qorunmasını təmin etmişdir. SOCAR olaraq Türkiyədə həyata keçirdiyimiz layihələrdə Petkim, TANAP, Star Rafineri, Petlim və başqalarında biz hər zaman bu dəstəyi hiss edirik. Qeyd etmək istərdim ki, 2016-cı ildə SOCAR qrupu Türkiyəyə sərmayə yatıran ən böyük xarici investorlardan biri olmuşdur. Keçən il Türkiyə sənayesinə daxil olan birbaşa xarici sərmayələrin 51%-nin SOCAR tərəfindən həyata keçirilmişdir. Bu günədək SOCAR tərəfindən Türkiyədə həyata keçirilən layihələrə ümumilikdə 12,6 milyard ABŞ dolları həcmində sərmayə yatırmışıq. Həyata keçirilən layihələr yekunlaşanadək bu göstəricilərin 19,5 milyard ABŞ dolları təşkil edəcəyi gözlənilir. SOCAR bundan sonra da iki qardaş xalqın rifahı naminə iri həcmli sərmayə layihələrini davam etdirməkdə qərarlıdır. Diqqətlə görə sağ olun.
Thank you, Mr. Abdullayev. Our next speaker will be Mr. Wang Yilin, Chairman of CNPC. Please take the floor.
Hello, sorry. I'd like to speak Chinese. Your man want to use your headphone, please. 尊敬的主席先生、希斯曼先生、女士们、先生们、朋友们。十分荣幸参加此次在闻名遐迩的伊斯坦布尔召开的世界石油大会，感谢世界石油大会理事会和土耳其国家委员会的邀请。首先，我代表世界石油大会、中国国家委员会 中国石油天然气集团公司，并以我个人的名义，对第22届世界石油大会的召开表示热烈的祝贺。本次大会以“通往能源未来的桥梁”为主题，积极响应当前能源转型与变革的新趋势，共同探求务实未来能源的发展之路。近2年，全球政治经济领域的频繁出现的一些黑天鹅事件，不断地冲击全球化的发展。巴黎气候协定签署，开启了全球能源转型的新进程。油气作为化石能源，在低油价和能源的转型中面临的新问题、新挑战不断的涌现，给政府和企业提出了新的课题。今年5月，中国政府在北京举办了"一带一路"国际合作高峰论坛，旨在进一步的加强与沿途各国的深入合作，得到了各国政府和国际组织的热烈响应。埃尔多安总统曾表示，"一带一路"定会成为促进和平、稳定的共赢之路，将为提高沿线国家基础设施和技术水平，开拓连接各大洲的陆路、海路和空中的交通，做出重要的贡献。土耳其会不遗余力地参与并支持"一带一路"建设。中国石油也在同期邀请了沿线多个国际合作伙伴及国家石油公司的负责人，举办了"一带一路"油气合作的圆桌会议。会上，我与各界同仁一起，就积极地推动油气合作向更宽领域、更深层次、更高水平发展，努力打造油气合作的利益共同体，形成了多项共识，包括实现政策沟通，加强"一带一路"油气合作的政策、标准和机制的对接，实现实施联通，构建"一带一路"地区油气互联互通体系，实现贸易畅通，建设开放包容的交易平台和产能合作平台，实现资金融通，加快推进能源与金融的一体化，实现民心相通，促进"一带一路"油气合作的本地化和可持续发展。土耳其作为欧亚能源的运输枢纽，具有重要的战略地位，在丝绸之路扮演着重要的角色。中土两国近年来的经济发展令人瞩目，"一带一路" 又一次将两国关系紧密地联系在一起。中国的“一带一路”倡议与土耳其通过安纳托利亚连接欧洲、中亚和中国的中间走廊计划相互呼应。随着土耳其加入亚投行，中土双方将在基础设施建设及经贸合作领域书写新的历史篇章。在油气领域，中国石油企业与土耳其有广阔的合作前景。双方在能源管道、基础设施、技术交流以及贸易等方面都大有可为。女士们、先生们、朋友们，新的形势下，加强油气合作是各国政府、油公司和服务公司的共同需求，需要我们携起手来，继续弘扬和平合作、开放包容、互学互鉴、互利共赢的丝绸之路精神，坚持以共同诉求为导向，以供需市场为依托，积极地推动区域能源资源市场产业一体化进程，提升互利共赢的油气合作水平，为政策沟通、实施联通、贸易畅通、资金融通、民心相通提供有力的支撑。我认为，一、推动油气合作需要构筑欧亚油气大通道。目前，欧亚各国在油气产品贸易方面存在巨大的发展空间，大家应携手共同建设铁路、公路、油气管道、港口以及油气工业的配套设施、运输服务设施等等，构建通道与市场闭合的欧亚油气输送体系，共同维护资源国市场安全和消费国的供应安全。二、推动油气合作需要建设欧亚油气大市场，大力推进区域开放型的市场建设，促进东北亚、东南亚和南亚次区域的市场建立与融合，逐步形成信息开放、市场联通、储备共享、交易联动、规划共建的区域油气一体化市场。三、推动油气合作需要形成欧亚油气大产业，兼顾“一带一路”沿线各资源国、过境国、消费国的利益诉求，通过勘探开发和炼油化工合作，带动技术研发、装备制造、工程服务、贸易仓储等产业合作，实现区域油气全产业链的深度合作，打造油气合作的升级版。中国石油是中国最大的油气生产供应商， 也是全球油气合作领域的重要参与者。在全球能源转型和中国能源革命的大背景下，中国石油致力于将全球能源转型的长期战略与国内国有企业深化改革的重大任务有机结合，有力地实施资源市场国际化和创新战略，努力建设世界一流的综合性国际能源公司。一是更加注重业务布局和结构优化，以效益为中心，在全球范围优化资源组合，做强做优原油和天然气两条价值链，培育新的业务增长点。二是更加注重科技与商业模式的创新，以信息化推动管理和商业模式的创新，激发全员的创造力，形成更多的依靠创新驱动引领型的发展。三是更加注重绿色低碳发展。作为石油天然气气候变化倡议的成员公司，我们坚定地履行承诺，全面推进清洁生产和节能减排，为全球的气候治理做出应有的贡献。四是更加注重开放合作与互利共赢，以项目为纽带，积极谋求与国际大石油公司、国家石油公司、独立石油公司等各类伙伴的深层次、全方位的合作。五是突出企业的社会责任履行，着力提升本土化的运营水平。中国石油将在各国政府、各类伙伴、各界朋友的大力支持下，紧紧抓住全球能源转型和油气市场格局变化的时机，为建设欧亚油气大通道、大市场和大产业做出应有贡献。这次机会，我提出以下4点倡议：一是不断拓展合作领域层次，深入贯彻落实双边、多边能源合作协议，深化企业间交流与合作，落实好企业间的战略合作协议，以联合委员会、联合工作组等形式，推动重大的油气项目的合作，以重大项目合作推动技术、标准、资本、人员、管理等等全方位的对接。二是积极的创新油气合作模式，运用新思路，推出新举措，创建新机制，不断探索在提高采收率技术研发与应用、非常规资源开发、人才联合培养、产业园区共建等领域的合作新模式，释放合作潜能。三是有效构筑风险防范机制，积极构筑健全有效的区域风险管控体系， 有效地防范油气合作中的经济安全、经济安全、汇率等各类风险，特别是要推动构建管道安全保障、应急协调等相关的双边、多边的合作机制，保障油气合作项目和跨境油气管道长期安全、平稳运行。四是共同营造良好政策环境，健全完善双边贸易和投资合作的法律基础，推动双边、多边投资保护协定的签订，简化通关流程，畅通人员往来，积极推动投资贸易自由化、便利化，为全方位的油气合作提供支持有力的政策环境。女士们、先生们、朋友们，让我们更加紧密地携起手来，以共商共建、共享为原则，进一步地拓宽油气合作领域，共同应对全球能源行业的重大变革，构建开放共赢、互利互惠的能源合作利益共同体，为世界提供更加优质清洁的能源，为促进人类社会持续健康的发展做出更大的贡献。谢谢大家。
Thank you very much, Mr. Van Gilin, for your presentation. And I'd like now to give a small token of appreciation for the speakers.
Kuwait Institute for Scientific Research established this research center, which is the Petroleum Research Center, with the aim to make it a regionally recognized center of excellence in both upstream and downstream technologies.
The main purpose of this center actually is to serve the oil sector and to be the R&D arm, of the petroleum industry in Kuwait.
It has a foundation. It is the first in the region. It was started in 1967, so it has a fairly amount of maturation.
The development of technologies in different areas is a continuous process. Why you develop every time? Because there is a need, there is a requirement, there is a way that you have to find a cost-effectiveness technology, impress technology which can fulfill your requirement.
There is enormous challenges that the petroleum industry is facing, and those challenges definitely needs innovative answers.
We are concentrating on how to improve the reserved oil in the country, how we can probably develop technologies to improve the recovery.
In this center, we have 5 types of programs. Each program is focused in one area in the field. First program, we call it Enhance Oil Recovery. Enhance Oil Recovery means their work is totally with the upstream.
The reservoir is the more complex part of the earth geology. And as we go to deeper and more difficult oil, we need more understanding. This way we will enhance our capability of producing at lower costs.
If we develop a technology which has to do related to enhanced oil recovery, increasing the production, this technology, of course, can be used in any other country, in the GCC countries or in the world, based on how much effective is this technology.
Another two programs, we call one of them optimization refining processes, and we have refining capacity flexibility. These two programs under the downstream process.
This program particularly deals with the hydroprocessing. Hydroprocessing means you treat the petroleum fraction in the presence of the catalyst and the hydrogen.
We have a number of patents related to the spent catalyst in which we try to develop a technology to recover the metals as well as to reuse this spent catalyst. This can be used everywhere if it is acceptable and then commercialized.
We are very good in catalysis monitoring. Also, we have now for producing the catalyst as well. We're preparing of the catalyst evaluation, and also we are doing it in our labs. We have here a unique lab. We call it pilot plant, which is simplified from the refinery.
We try to align our research activities with the requirement needed by KNPC, and at the same time having this facility which I'm talking now here is give us the opportunity, because this is considered a small refinery which is mimicking the real refinery. It's operational 24 hours. So if we target a certain specific product, so we can make a full study, giving the results upon the completion of the results, giving it to the client, namely KNPC, there is a great potential to use it on the commercial units.
It's important because the refinery and all the technology are changing with the years, okay, in order to take account of the environment. But more you take account of the environment, you reduce the gain of the refinery. You have to maintain your gain respecting the environment. Because of this, we are developing this technology that they are taking account all these elements.
Petroleum refining, you are processing specific feedstock, but this feedstock's also properties is changing, so you need to develop catalyst. As the property changes, the sulfur content, for example, the sulfur content is increasing. So what technology that you have to use in order to reduce the sulfur, to be accepted worldwide, so the people, they can buy your commodity or your product, which is meeting the international standards. So the demand for technology development is always there.
Fourth one, which is the corrosion assessment and mitigation. And here it's falling into two areas, which is downstream and upstream, and to prevent any kind of failures happens in the future.
Cost of corrosion for the oil industry is in millions. Imagine a simple failure in a refinery, a crack in a vessel or a pipe or a reactor. It means for the refinery shutdown of a unit, and they take several days to change the damaged piece of equipment. So you lose production for several days.
The last one, which we call petrochemicals.
In our program, we are focused on enhancing the product properties, and we are focusing as well on trying to engineer high-performance polymers. In these two solutions, we can help the sector to be more competitive in comparison with the market and international market products.
There are many technologies worldwide. Which technology suits the reservoir that you have. Imagine not only each country has its own oil properties, but each well, it has its own characteristics. So in this case, you have to really look into technology to produce what we call a decent of crude oil, which is under category of non-conventional oil recovery. That's why we introduced the improved oil recovery, the enhanced oil recovery, to produce the heavier feedstock.
We're also responsible to have staff to be well skilled and trained, Kuwaiti staff in particular, also having students from university, from public authority to having their, for example, their thesis or something like that. So we work collaboratively with those affiliation in order to end up with high caliber staff that can not only be used at this, but also in the oil sector.
We have to really be ready and confident in our research projects that we conduct, and also to be highly recognized and acknowledged for the science and technology and innovation, locally, regionally, and internationally.
I think the needs require such institute to exist, not only in Kuwait and the region, but all over the world, because energy is one of the main factors that impact sustainability.
We have a fantastic team, we have a marvelous equipment under one roof, so it is really a platform to start directional research in all kinds.
The vision is clear now. Based on this close relationship that we have, now it's getting more and clearer to us exactly where to focus and how to probably achieve these plans that we set.
Well, thank you, Dr. Toff. It's an honor to join you and my distinguished colleagues on this panel, and a privilege to participate in the 22nd World Petroleum Congress. It's also a pleasure to meet here in Istanbul, one of the world's great cities. And to our Turkish host, thank you for your hospitality. This global gathering reflects the scale, scope, and diversity of our industry. It's also indicative of the critical role that energy plays in the world's economy. We're here and we're in business because people demand the fuels, power, and products we produce. People around the planet share some similar aspirations. We all want a good quality of life, a clean environment, and a better future for our children. Our industry has played an important role in fulfilling these aspirations for billions of people. One of the triumphs of the past quarter century has been the dramatic increase in living standards. The UN estimates that since 1990, 1 billion people have escaped extreme poverty. And every year, 160 million are joining the global middle class. Energy is a key driver in this economic success story. By making fuel and power available and affordable, we've enabled people to change their lives for the better. Cleaner cooking fuels improves air quality and saves lives. Reliable lighting makes for longer, safer, and more productive days. Refrigeration preserves food and stops disease. Motorized transport provides better access to water, food, health care, and education. Electricity powers appliances, cell phones, and computers. The list goes on. The UN measures a country's development with an index that combines income, education, and life expectancy. When this index is compared to energy use, a pattern emerges. In countries with higher living standards, people require more energy. The correlation is clear. The world's oil and gas industry helps improve living standards. We can all be proud of that. Collectively, our technologies, the partnerships we've established, and our people have made this progress possible. But there's much more to do. 1 billion people still have no electricity. About 3 billion rely on primitive, unsafe cooking fuels that cause 4 million deaths a year. Their aspirations aren't being met because they lack access to affordable energy. Energy poverty is not for lack of potential supply. In fact, global oil and gas markets are oversupplied. Consider this. At the first WPC in 1933, a hot topic of discussion was peak oil, the theory that oil supplies will hit a high point soon and then rapidly run out. Peak oil was also discussed at the 21st WPC, just 3 years ago, but not this year. Peak oil is not on the agenda. And why? Because our industry has again expanded the boundaries of science to produce energy resources previously thought out of reach. In particular, technology advances in hydraulic fracturing and horizontal drilling have unlocked vast new supplies of shale oil and gas. Industry innovation has led to an energy revolution. So the challenge we face now isn't peak oil. It's getting the new energy supplies we're developing to those who need them most. It's taking advantage of our energy abundance to promote global affluence. Meeting the challenge won't be easy. As we all know, the supply boom has put downward pressure on prices. This has increased competitive pressures for resource-developing companies like mine and increased revenue pressures for resource-owning governments. It's harder to earn money when prices are low and margins are tight for industry and governments alike. Success in this environment requires a disciplined approach. It requires creating value by running our businesses more effectively and efficiently. This is the foundation on which ExxonMobil has built the company. Over the course of 135 years, we've also found that long-term success requires a focus on technology, integrated value chains, and strategic partners. Technology has led to abundant supply, but it's also helping ExxonMobil create unique value. At our core, we're a technology company. We have almost 20,000 scientists and engineers, including more than 2,000 with PhDs. We spend about $1 billion a year in researching and developing new technologies, including potential breakthroughs like algae for biofuels, fuel cells for carbon capture, and reverse osmosis for more efficient manufacturing processes. We're finding innovative ways to operate more effectively and more efficiently. Better seismic imaging and reservoir modeling, faster and more precise drilling, lower cost projects, higher yield, less energy intensive manufacturing processes, and advantaged performance products. Thanks to our integration, these technologies enable us to maximize value all along the product value chain. We have long-term relationships with partners who recognize and reward this value. Together, technology, integration, and partnerships create win-win situations, even in today's market conditions. Wins for industry, wins for governments, and wins for society as a whole. Let me share 2 examples. Both are projects ExxonMobil operates in the Asia-Pacific region, a center of growing energy demand. In Papua New Guinea, we partnered with the government to develop natural gas in the country's remote highlands. The resource potential was enormous, but not economic to produce, until we applied advanced technology and execution techniques. Building the infrastructure to support this LNG project was the real challenge. We built a high-elevation airstrip to fly in large rigs that enabled us to drill highly productive wells. We developed new techniques to safely install more than 700 kilometers of pipeline across steep, volcanic mountain ridges. And we applied new jet engine technologies to compressors at our plants to boost efficiency and reduce emissions. Technology was critical to scale up and make the investment profitable. Production began in 2014, ahead of schedule. This partnership, built on technology and integration in an integrated value chain, and is creating value for local communities, for national governments, for our shareholders, and for consumers throughout the region. That's a winning combination. In Singapore, we operate the world's largest integrated refining and petrochemical complex. Here, we manufacture a wide range of lubricant base stocks, specialty products, and fuels, including low-sulfur diesel. In recent years, using proprietary catalyst, we boosted the production of high-value lubricant base stocks by 20%. The site converts a number of refinery streams into high-value plastics and other specialty products. In 2013, we started up the world's only steam cracker that uses crude as a feedstock. This technology provides unique economic advantages and allows us to fully utilize the benefits of an integrated site. We can maximize the value of every molecule we process at that facility. With the strong support of the government, we've helped transform Singapore into a manufacturing powerhouse, helping to meet the needs of its growing neighbors. Of course, Asia Pacific isn't the only center of global demand growth. The Middle East is another. Our projects in the region, including world-class LNG facilities in Qatar, fuels and chemical manufacturing in Saudi Arabia, production of Upper Zakum in Abu Dhabi, and redevelopment of West Kurna in Iraq, play important roles in shaping the world's energy future. ExxonMobil is building on our strong partnerships with national oil companies to meet the needs of growing populations across the world. Our industry's challenge is reducing energy poverty by increasing energy access. But that isn't enough. Working with governments, we also need to reduce emissions and other environmental impacts of energy use. Technology is also the foundation for addressing this challenge. Advances in supplying natural gas are clear examples of the power of technology to deliver environmental progress. As a fuel for generating electricity, natural gas emits up to 60% fewer greenhouse gas emissions than coal. By switching from coal to gas, the United States, for example, has reduced its emissions to a 25-year low. And as LNG markets mature internationally, other countries will be helped in meeting their goals. Natural gas is one of the most economic options available and a key part of the solution to managing the risk of climate change. Carbon capture and storage technology is another key part. ExxonMobil has an interest in about 1/4 of the world's CCS capacity. Last year, we announced a technology partnership to research whether fuel cells can be used to capture carbon dioxide more economically. This potential game changer could enable continued hydrocarbon use with greatly reduced emissions. Another promising area of research in reducing emissions is advanced biofuels. For several years, ExxonMobil has been partnering with synthetic genomics to develop biofuels from algae. We aim to engineer algae that could produce low-emissions fuel at scale. Recently, we reached a key milestone in this research. We're also teaming up with a company called Renewable Energy Group to research ways of producing biodiesel from agricultural waste. Technology holds the promise of reducing both energy poverty and emissions. Our industry and many others are helping realize this promise, but we also need the cooperation of governments. I've described the importance of strong partnerships with resource-owning governments. Cooperation is equally important in countries where governments regulate resource development. Here, policymakers create the legal, regulatory, and policy frameworks in which our industry operates and innovates. We can do our jobs when markets are open, rules are clear, and investments are protected. This framework encourages investments and spurs innovation. Without the framework, the investment case is much more difficult. So the challenge is not only on the ground, where oil and natural gas resources are discovered and developed, but also in the halls of government, where policy decisions are made. Free markets are the best means of enabling the needed investments and innovation. If governments restrict markets, these restrictions should be applied evenly. The playing field should be level. This is the only means of preserving competition in a way that drives innovation and progress. This panel today is dedicated to a discussion of shaping our energy future. I believe that our industry's past is its prologue. I believe we're well positioned to build on our recent accomplishments to shape a hopeful energy future. The challenge we face today is reducing energy poverty, reducing the cost of energy production, and reducing the impacts of energy use on the environment. It's about using today's abundance to create tomorrow's affluence. It will require free markets promoting investment and innovation, strong partnerships between industry and government, and integrated oil and gas companies capable of maximizing value across the supply chain. But most importantly, it will require technology. That's the foundation for meeting the challenges we face. More than any single factor, technology will shape our energy future. I've seen the power and the potential of technology at my own company. It's enabled us to help defy peak oil, to capture efficiencies, cut emissions, and create unique value. If industry seizes the opportunity through free markets and strong partnerships to harness the potential of technology going forward, I have no doubt we can rise to the challenge and shape a future that meets the world's shared aspirations. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Woods, for your presentation. And as I announced, the next speaker will be Mr. Alexander Novak, Minister of Energy of Russian Federation. Please take the floor.
Добрый день, уважаемые дамы и господа, уважаемый господин Йозеф Тот. Прошу взять микрофон. Я прежде всего хотел бы поблагодарить и поприветствовать всех участников Мирового нефтяного конгресса, поблагодарить организаторов, принимающую турецкую сторону за прекрасную организацию.
Arrangements and excellent organization of the event. I would also like to greet CEOs of companies attending the panel and listening to us in the room. We note with satisfaction our multilateral cooperation and development, which is, I'm confident, a guarantee and a safeguard of our good future. The topic of the session is shaping the future of energy. Energy is the backbone of the societal development. In the upcoming 20 years, global population will go up, the electrification of the developing and emerging countries will continue, global GDP will keep growing, that will have a positive impact on the well-being of our people. The advances in medicine and agriculture will help increase the lifespan. All that will require a better energy supply, that is to go up by at least 25% by 2040. And the probability is high that we will not see an overnight revolution, but if we close our eyes today and reopen them in 20 years' time, I'm confident that our sector will become very different from what we're used to now. We live at a very interesting time. On the one hand, we're seeing an unforeseen transparency of markets and companies and great access to information, technological breakthroughs that we've been witnessing. Clean energy technologies are the reality of today. On the other hand, we can see destructive trends that quite often are unilateral and artificial. These are barriers aimed at uncompetitive promotion of one's products. We can see that politically motivated restrictions are used more and more often with respect to free development infrastructure and financing, and all of us together are to make up our mind. What energy do we want in future? How can we guarantee the uninterrupted supply of the global economy? This is the question. During the Industry 4.0, the center of electricity, it's not so important what the primary source of energy is. More important is that it should be available on demand, it should have a competitive price, and it should have clear and regular set of consumer properties. Taking all that into account, I'd like to dwell on several important aspects that impact energy markets. First, the energy mix evolution. Second, technological progress. And third, the fledgling rules of trade, financing and technological exchanges on energy markets. With respect to global energy mix, this is one of the most relevant topics today. Like a month ago, at the St. Petersburg Economic Forum, it was very high on the agenda. Together with colleagues from major oil and gas companies, we discussed that topic, and the overall conclusion is that the global energy demand will go up, although the structure and geography will change. The growth rate will go probably down, and to a large extent, thanks to technological progress and advances in energy efficiency, we'll see a reshuffle of geographic market structure. Like OECD countries are expected to stagnate. At the same time, the growth will be more pronounced in APR, Middle East, Africa, with the rise in consumption by no less than 1.5 times. The overall share of fossils in the energy mix will go down, but not drastically, and the demand for hydrocarbons will increase by more than 20%. And the ongoing growth of GDP will be accustomed by the increase in the car fleet and the electrification of the emerging countries. We will see greater use of products of petrol and gas chemistry in all the routines of ours. 9 out of 10 the items that are around us have been manufactured with the use of the oil and petrochemical products. I would also like to draw your attention to the fact that during a century the global economy created infrastructure to consume fossils, spending trillions of dollars, lots of man-hours, and to maintain that infrastructure we need tens of millions of people, and the development keeps going on. It's not only about cars and filling station and relevant services, but also machine engineering, marketing, services. Any overhaul and adaptation of infrastructure without which it will be impossible to change the energy mix will take at least 25 to 30 years. The artificial acceleration of the reduction of the carbon content may devalue all those investments and have an impact, a toll on the competitiveness of many of the emerging countries, because energy sources and infrastructure will become much more expensive, and the greatest rate of growth will fall on the renewables. The renewables and nuclear power share will go up to 23% from 15% by 2035, and in power generation their share will increase from 7 to 20%. And I believe that the growth in renewables is pushed ahead inter alia by the UN climate agenda that wants to reduce the emissions of greenhouse gas in order to slow down the climate change. And let me cite an example of the economically viable movement towards clean energy, like in the Russian Federation. Even today 85% of power is either low carbon or carbon free, is from either low carbon or carbon free sources. It's hydropower, nuclear power and renewables, accounting for around 37%, and the gas generation totals around 50% of all generation. The cleanness, reliability and availability of the energy will be safeguarded by the reasonable combination of different energies, that the process should be inclusive, non-discriminatory for those who are most vulnerable. Now let me move to a very important topic that will define the future of energy, which is the technological progress, and I believe that we need frank and open dialogue to understand what type and what amount of energy we're going to need. In the century of electricity, it's not about primary energies, but energy sources rather. The fourth industrial revolution on lifestyle impact, and it is great. It may surpass other revolutions with respect to our daily routines. Definitely, we're interested on how it's going to impact energy markets. We wonder that. Let us single out several key things, and I'll dwell on them, on these pillars, like digital technologies, artificial intelligence and robotics, biotech, material studies, infrastructural and transport changes, and energy technologies. These are the pillars that I believe merit our attention and that they can impact the future look of energy. With respect to digital technology, it's so common knowledge that under Moore law, each 2 years we can see the doubling of the computing capability, the growth and availability of computers, and the fact that they're adapted to resolve the goals that we've been faced with, make the ITC one of the fastest growing sectors of the global economy. having the annual growth rate by around 10%, and it underlies breakthroughs in other sectors, and disruptive growth in other sectors is possible thanks to digitalization and computerization. Why is that important? The humankind, in the course of its history, amassed colossal experience and track record of interacting with each other and with nature, but never in the course of our history we had a chance to analyze this data array in detail, the array of sequences and repeated actions. This is what is called a big data analysis. This analysis will have a toll on all the spheres of life and all the professions, optimizing routes, procedures, job scopes, and that may lead to the exponential growth in the labor productivity. Machine learning definitely will help teach robots in the course of production. That's definitely a very succinct list of all things that are going on, but these are major trends. Big data in the energy sector may help bring the cost of energy down and remove the windfall profits, reach many manufacturers of windfall profits, and it may impact consumer behavior a lot. Definitely, we don't have the full understanding and idea about the effect of these technologies, but it's obvious that further growth in energy efficiency and the moderation of the energy demand growth rate is only a question of time. Biotech also is very important for us. On the face of it, the energy may have nothing to do with it, but that will be wrong. All the projections of consumption are based on the assumption that the population will grow and the well-being will improve. One of the main drivers of that trend is a rapid advancement of biotech, such energies as immune engineering, genome mapping, accurate genetical engineering will help extend the lifespan and its active phase also, together with the numbers of population that has a direct bearing on the energy consumption. Precise genetical engineering in plant cultivation will be conditioned by the need to feed the growing population of the earth, and agricultural productivity will grow unevenly in separate regions only. That will increase the demand for storage and transport. Both are quite energy intensive and will spur energy growth. New materials science may change transport flows, and we're seeing the advent of the 3D printing. All that will impact the power and fuel demand and will impact the global energy sector. Look, better access to infrastructure has to deal with LNG and pipeline gas and power, grid infrastructure. We can see the growth in the number of LNG consumers. Over the past 10 years, their number increased from 18 to 37 countries, and that value may further go up, not only thanks to the climate agenda of the end, but also with the help of the technology of the floating and regasification terminals that may be sent to any remote territories. We also have projects with integrated terminals of the kind that will re-gas, but also will use that gas for to make electricity and desalinate water, and definitely that will increase and enhance the energy access. Now, a few words on the technology breakthroughs in our sphere. We all speak about the shale revolution both in gas and oil sphere. The optimized production process, better technology, the horizontal drilling and better fracking allow us to drill deeper, faster, longer and better, and that process goes on. The big data, the machine learning in our sector, all these things may lead to even a greater optimization, reduction of costs and the downtime that will make oil even more affordable for consumers. Digitalization of the field will allow us to better simulate the formations and plan the way of the equipment, get rid of the excessive spare parts and warehouse inventories, and we'll be able to shift rigs better and faster. Today, some of the companies use smartphone applications to control drilling. In power sector, we can see the rapid advancement of technology. The grids are becoming smarter and smarter, and we've been seeing the smart grid technology introduced everywhere. The distributed generation share goes up, and new technologies of transfer of the power are required, like wireless power transfer and others. The growth is witnessed in renewables use, and the nuclear power technologies are enhanced, including the closed-loop nuclear fuel cycle. The elaboration of these technologies require a new level of cooperation between research teams, manufacturing sites, and public structures, and competitiveness may only be preserved if we join hands with the single-minded people. And the third very important aspect, impact in energy markets, is the free and unhindered development of trade, the transfer of capital, spillover of technologies, and joint R&D developments. To develop, we need the clear, transparent, and fair set of the rules of the game, and otherwise, politics may become a considerable obstacle to growth. We often face artificial restrictions imposed on infrastructural developments. Artificial preferences are given to some of the energy sources and some of the suppliers. 3 years ago at the WPC in Moscow, we mentioned that the probability of such risky actions was high. In the European dimension especially, we can see the blatant sabotage of the economically appealing projects that are good for consumers, such as, for example, Nord Stream 2. We can see meddling with the commercial interests of the companies. We can see distortions in some of the energy policies of some countries that drop energy and clean energy sources, like nuclear power and gas, being guided by political reasons. And I believe that the extra-territorial restrictions that are all the rage of late don't add up to the stability of the market. They encompass trade investments, the technology deployment, and these are policies that are an extension of protectionism, running counter to the rules and norms of WTO and other international organizations. And we need interaction for the sake of all the nations in the world. Such myopic actions will breach and frustrate the mechanisms of industry's operation, erecting artificial barriers on our way to progress. I'm sure that only open, based on single norms and rules, trade ties and technology cooperation will help develop global economy and international cooperation. It's not accidental that the G20 summit the other day in Hamburg and dialogue formats of the UN and BRICS and other international groupings and multilateral organizations saw that all the leaders of the countries called for developing, not restricting cooperation. Russia today is one of the major energy powers, a guarantor of energy security, including for the global economy. We can see the colossal untapped potential for cooperation and investments, and we'll do our best to untap that potential with all the interested stakeholders and parties. Making headway means cooperating among market participants to develop joint projects, establishing joint mechanisms of monitoring and analysis, funding, and R&D. Dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, in closing, I want once again to reiterate that we live in the course of the Industrial Revolution, where we've been adapting to the new technological realities, which is the reality of today. We need to find the point of equilibrium on our joint actions, on our capability to find promising ways of development, on the inclusion of all the global economy and their participation. Our well-being depends, and that common energy future of ours should be safer, cleaner, and more convenient. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Minister Novak. And now I kindly ask Mr. Amin Nasser, President and CEO of Saudi Aramco, Saudi Arabia, to deliver his speech.
Thank you, Dr. Joseph. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning and Junaiden. Let me first thank the World Petroleum Congress for inviting me to participate in this premier gathering of the oil and gas industry, along with His Excellency Mr. Novak and Darren and Ben. Let me also thank our Turkish host for bringing us together once again to one of the world's great cities. Like many of you, I was here in Istanbul last October attending the World Energy Congress. There was widespread agreement that even as the world transitioned to alternative, the petroleum industry will continue to be at the heart of the global energy mix for the foreseeable future. But for oil and gas to maintain that role while continuing to ensure global energy security, there are several realities that need to be considered in any broad-based energy strategy. So today, I would like to elaborate on those realities and how we are responding to them at Saudi Aramco. To begin, if our history is any guide, there can be little debate that the energy transition already underway will be a long and a complex process. It took coal more than a century to partially displace biofuels and reach a share of 50%. It took oil 80 years to do the same. While natural gas has taken more than 80 years to reach just 25% of total energy consumption. Looking at today's energy mix, the expectation for alternatives are through the roof. But while electric vehicles are making progress, the reality on the ground today is that they make up just less than 0.2% of the 1.2 billion total vehicle fleet. Even under the most aggressive 2-degree climate change scenario, the International Energy Agency still does not see electrical vehicle capturing even 10% share in 2030. As for the renewables, they are also gaining ground. But their intermittent nature and the need for large-scale electricity storage and grid stability are still major challenges. And in any case, they do not directly compete with oil. In other words, history is repeating itself. It still takes a long time for new fuels to seize market share from legacy fuels. Furthermore, even when legacy fuels do begin to lose market share, history tells us that absolute demand for them continues to rise significantly for long periods of time. Coal is a good example. While its share peaked in the early 1900s and has now dropped to around 30% today, absolute demand for coal has risen by about 200-folds since then. As well as the lessons from history over the next quarter of a century, we are going to see a world economy more than double the size that we have today, about 2 billion more energy consumers, and the energy poverty that affects billions today reduced, if not eliminated by then, while living standards rise. The implications are clear. Though the level by which global energy demand grows could vary as the energy transition unfolds, there is no debating the growth itself. So these are the realities that we face. An energy transition that is likely to be just as long and certainly more complex than any we have previously experienced. A long period when alternative will not be ready to shoulder a major burden of supplying adequate and affordable clean energy. And rising demand for all sources of energy, with oil and gas at the heart of the mix, will be the reality for decades to come. So far, so good. But is the world paying enough attention to ensuring adequate energy supply during the long transitions? There seems to be a growing belief that the world can prematurely disengage from proven and reliable energy sources like oil and gas on the mistaken assumption that alternatives will be rapidly deployed. If we look at the long-term situation of oil supply, for example, the picture is becoming increasingly worrying. About $1 trillion in investment have already been lost since the current downturn began. We then have the growing oil demand I just mentioned and the national decline of developed oil fields. Even conservative estimates suggest that about 20 million barrels per day needs to be offset over the next 5 years to counter those two effects. That is a lot of production capacity to be made up. New discoveries are also on a major downward trend. The volume of conventional oil discovered around the world over the past 4 years has more than halved compared with the previous 4. And none of this is being held by misleading argument about peak oil demand and stranded resources. As a result, financial investors are shying away from making much-needed large investment in oil exploration, long-term development, and the related infrastructure. Investment in smaller increments, such as shale oil, will just not cut it. Yet, without those higher investment levels, the energy transition and therefore energy security may be fatally compromised. Of course, rising investment level is not the only game in town. The continuing market volatility is a powerful reminder that we must transform our own business model to build the resilience and discipline that will see us through the transition. At Saudi Aramco, we are working hard in 3 interrelated areas. First, when it comes to ensuring that adequate and affordable supply of oil and gas are available throughout the transition, we are continuing to make the required long-term investment. We plan to invest more than $300 billion over the coming decade to reinforce our preeminent position in oil, maintain our spare oil production capacity, and pursue a large exploration and production program centering on conventional and unconventional gas resources. Second, a key lesson of the downturn is that strong financial capacity is essential to our ability to get through such periods and make those long-term investments. We are focusing on our underlying cost structure because greater efficiency and cost competitiveness without compromising on safety or the environment is mission critical for everyone. We also firmly believe that the integration can strengthen our portfolio resilience as our refining and chemical strategies attest. Third, we must leverage the power of innovation and technology to make the use of oil and gas ultra-clean and minimize emissions as part of the Kingdom's commitment to Paris Agreement. For example, doubling our production of natural gas to 23 billion scf over the coming decade will raise the share of gas in the Kingdom utilities to about 70%, the highest of any G20 nation. We are also working with auto manufacturers to develop ultra-clean engine fuel systems of the future. And we have partnered with many of the oil and gas companies here today to promote low-emission technologies. In particular, the Oil and Gas Climate Initiative, OGCI, is investing $1 billion to develop and accelerate the commercial deployment of those technologies. Elsewhere, we are paying special attention to advancing carbon capture, utilization, and storage technology, which have potential to turn legacy fuel into zero-emission fuels. And we are promoting the non-combustible uses of oil, which reduce greenhouse gas emission from oil in a major way. It is why we are prioritizing the direct conversion of crude oil into petrochemicals. But we are not just focusing on conventional energy sources. With economic diversification and future energy transformation in mind, the Kingdom's Vision 2030 sees Saudi Arabia becoming nothing less than a solar powerhouse. The Kingdom has already launched a phased program to build an initial renewable capacity of 9.5 gigawatts by 2023, and Saudi Aramco will play an increasing role in achieving this critical goal. Ladies and gentlemen, like Istanbul, we can be proud of our history, but we must also follow its example of embracing new frontiers if we are to succeed in energy transformation while effectively managing the transition. Industry leaders and policymakers must develop an aligned and compelling narrative that will attract the level of investment we need. Part of that will be transforming our own business model to ensure that oil and gas are not just proven and reliable energy sources, but are as clean and affordable as possible. And another part will be helping new energy sources to overcome the obstacles they face, all without compromising the world's energy security. In other words, the roles of legacy fuel and evolving alternative energy sources need optimal shaping. If together we can shape them, I believe a re-energized petroleum industry can drive global development for generations more to come. Thank you, and tashakkur ad-direm.
Thank you, Mr. Amin Nasser. And next speaker is Mr. Ben van Beurden, CEO of Shell, Netherlands. Take the floor, please.
Thank you very much, Dr. Todd. Your Royal Highness, Your Excellencies, dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, I'm also very delighted to be part of such an eminent panel this morning. And you know, sharing a stage with a number of nationalities, a Russian, American, a Saudi, just emphasizes for me the truly global nature of the challenges that we are discussing here today. And then to be together here in Istanbul, a city straddled across two continents, a city that has for centuries witnessed free flow of ideas, of culture, of history between the East and the West, that feels very appropriate to me. What better place would there be to discuss a huge global challenge like the future of energy? This future has to mean a world in which higher energy demand from a growing population is met at the same time as reducing greenhouse gas emissions. And I think this is a great opportunity for the world. There have already been huge advances in efficiency through digitalization and in the field of renewables, with wind and solar, costs having come down tremendously and predicted to fall even further. And all of this, I think, is very good news for the world, and it must accelerate. And all this change also offers many opportunities for energy companies. Take Turkey, for example, a country in which Shell has a proud history of 94 years of operations. Here we find a country moving to meet its Paris commitment, which is a 21% reduction in greenhouse gases, with a government strategy of renewable hydro, solar, wind power, combined with an expansion in the country's capacity for liquefied natural gas, with, of course, as been said before, much lower emissions than coal. In 2015, Turkey had an LNG capacity of 34 million cubic meters. It was 64 million cubic meters at the dawn of 2017, and it will be 107 million cubic meters 6 months from now. And this is just part of the change taking place in one country. And change on this scale simply doesn't happen on its own. It takes vast effort, vast investment, collaboration, and that's why the energy transition we are seeing taking shape is also a challenge for the world. It is a complex task, and there is no simple solution. A quick look at the UN population projections tell a compelling story of complexity and evolving energy demand. Today, we have around 7.5 billion people on the planet, and by the end of this century, it will be around 11.2. But then consider where these people will be, where the energy demand is going to emerge. It is in areas where we expect to see living standards rising, because as people make their lives better, they consume more energy. We've heard it before. First light bulb, first fridge, the first car. Asia, for example, population is predicted to rise 750 million by the middle of this century, with energy demand increasing by a half. But by 2100, this will fall back to 280 million more than today. But more than anything, this is a story about Africa. We can expect 3.6 billion extra people to be living on this planet by the end of the century, and 3.2 billion of those will be in Africa, and most of them in sub-Saharan Africa. Half of the world's population growth will be concentrated in just 9 countries: India, Nigeria, the DRC, Pakistan, Ethiopia, Tanzania, the United States, Uganda, and Indonesia. Now, the session today is a discussion about shaping the future of energy. Yet when I think about projections like this, it makes me feel that perspectives around the energy transition are sometimes misshapen. Often, yet too often, energy transition is considered from the perspective of the European or the North American. And it's true that these are areas of the world that have a historic responsibility for the greenhouse gases in our atmosphere today, which translates into a responsibility to act today. But demographic realities alone mean that it's not enough to consider these areas. If Norway and Germany and California were to switch entirely to battery-operated vehicles, that would be progress. But it's not nearly progress enough. Nobody should believe that. What happens in England is important, but what happens in Ethiopia is at least as important. From Denmark to DRC, from the US to Uganda, to India to China, there is a lot of work to do. This World Petroleum Congress has been assembled under the theme of bridges to our energy future. Now, we all know bridges need to be solid and reliable if they are to do their job of getting us to where we want to be. And I note there is now a stunning third bridge across the Bosphorus Strait. So let me offer up 3 solid, reliable bridges that I think can help the world need the energy future that it needs. The first one would be the bridge of perception. The energy transition is regularly portrayed in terms that compare it to a revolution, a moment in time when everything changes. In truth, different countries and different sectors will, of course, advance at different speeds. In truth, we are not talking about a moment in time, but of change that will take a number of generations. A country in Europe, for example, will have to renew and evolve its infrastructure to be much cleaner and achieve great efficiencies to bring down the amount of energy used per capita and then to cut the emissions associated with that consumption. But a country in another part of the world, which starts with minimal infrastructure, limited financial resources, a rapidly growing population, has an entirely different task on its hands. And when you consider the areas of the world where energy demand is still to expand, like Asia and sub-Saharan Africa, there is a huge opportunity there. These are areas that are not on the whole yet locked in to a coal-driven system. There is the potential for them to shift more directly to a less intensive pathway for their development. But even so, these growing countries will still require hydrocarbons to develop their industries, not least because there are some sectors of the economy that are just not able to achieve zero carbon. Take the industrial sector, for instance. It emits as much CO2 as the electricity sector, but much of it cannot switch to electricity. Light industry, yes, but there are no easy replacement yet for hydrocarbons that can provide the intensity of heat required for heavy industries like steel, cement, and many chemical processes. And the basic chemical reactions in making steel and cement, of course, also create CO2. So there is not one single energy transition on the way, but many, all running alongside each other. These are happening right now, but it will take many decades to play out. That's the bridge of perception. Next, there's the bridge of solutions. Different challenges throughout this energy transition will require different solutions. There is no one single answer to all these challenges. And that means that there will be many winners. Take transport, for example. Some part of the world, as has been mentioned before, we are beginning to see battery electric vehicles starting to gain customer acceptance. This has to happen as part of society's push towards decarbonization. But the weight and the capacity limits of batteries still mean there is no immediate zero-carbon solution for air travel, or for shipping, or for heavy freight. So the world also needs hydrogen fuel cells, it needs liquefied natural gas as transport, and the next generation of sustainable biofuels. So different challenges, different solutions. And the same can be said for power generation. Wind and solar are contributing more and more to the global energy system, and this must also happen if the world is to decarbonize. But the intermittency, it has been mentioned before, of renewables, both by day by day, but also across the seasons, means that there will be a long-term role for natural gas in power generation. New energy storage technologies will in time help, of course, dealing with that intermittency problem, but at the moment, they simply do not exist yet. Creating the investment landscape in which all these different solutions, and many more too, of course, can be developed and deployed at scale is one of the truly great challenges in the world. With so many different solutions needed, we should not try to pick winners. Instead, the market should be incentivized and enabled to act in the way that it should, creating customer-focused products through the pure heat of commercial competition. Now, some of this may involve well-targeted regulation and mandate things such as efficiency improvements. Part of it will mean consumer incentives to pull people into new habits and behaviors. Other initiatives, like that of the Task Force for Climate-Related Financial Disclosures, can play their part too, and Shell just signed up to that a few weeks ago. And there's also a role for government-led carbon pricing mechanisms, such as the cost-neutral system proposed by the Carbon Pricing Leadership Coalition, also supported by Shell. Such mechanisms will have the effect over time of pulling both consumers and industry towards low-carbon products and low-carbon solutions. And such carbon pricing could also make progress possible in other areas that are essential to a successful transition. And not least among those will be carbon capture and storage facilities. Until there is a market for carbon, the economic justification for such facilities is very hard to make. Yet, it is also a technology which is ready to deploy today and which the United Nations Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change believes is necessary if the world is to achieve its climate goals. With the right investment context, there is much commercial opportunity in this world of many solutions. And Shell is determined to find solutions and will be spending up to $1 billion a year on our new energies division by the end of the decade. So different sectors, different countries mean different speed. Different challenges mean different solutions. That's a lot of difference. It's a lot of complexity as well. And that brings me to the third bridge, the bridge of commitment. Because even as the world moves with different solutions and at different speeds, it must commit to moving in one direction. We have only one planet, and for good or ill, a shared destination. The agreement that was reached in Paris shows that there is a global desire to make sure that our destination is one that ends with a healthy planet, a world in which warming has been restricted to less than 2 degrees C. And the agreement reached just a few months before that, earlier in New York, on the UN Sustainable Development Goals, also demonstrates a global desire for that destination to be a place in which the people of this planet have a better life. It would be a good destination to reach. The world must continue to work together to get there. And to do so will require the global perspective embodied in this wonderful city of Istanbul. With that perspective, the world can hope to shape the future of energy in the right way for the planet, and not by grasping for a simple solution, but engaging in a transition involving many journeys, taken along many paths at many different speeds. But if the world can work to ensure that all paths lead to the same place, then we can get where we need to be. Thank you very much.
Microphone.